I think I'm live now. Am I live now? Hi, everybody. How are you? We're back. Sorry about that. See, this is why I don't like to announce things in advance, because then we get kicked off the. This is very unusual. I just want to wait to see. Hi, Cryptic. How are you? Can you hear me okay? Is my sound all right on this? Seem to be having some technical problems tonight. Thank you. Hi, Goddess Sanctuary. Hi, Danielle. Hello, hi, Charlene. Yes, you got here in time. Yes, you did, my dear. We were just kicked off, folks, so just trying to reestablish connection. Hi, Jay. Yeah, Jay, I know. What are they trying to prove? That they have control over our computers? We already know that. What's the big deal? It's not like I'm gonna. I'm such a little fish. I don't know why they would even bother with me. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming back. Yes, we were knocked off. Who knows why, whatever. So I'm just going to continue where I was. So let me go back. Let me just get this set back up because we were knocked off. So, okay. Where were we now, guys? Let's see. Where's everybody? Hi. All right. Thank you so much for letting me know about the sound. Um, yeah. Okay. So in case you're just joining us, this is the GoldFish Report number 457. It's week 163. POTUS report. It's Friday, March 13th, 2020. So welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Louisa. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm starting this over because we were just knocked off the internet and I already started reporting. So I'm just going to go through this and screen share here. The president is talking. Here, the president was uh, this is a press release regarding the 5G and the president securing and safeguarding America's vital communication networks and securing 5G technology. Reliable and safe networks. President Trump signed new legislation to ensure that our nation's communication networks are protected from foreign adversaries. Today, President Trump, this was yesterday actually, President Trump signed the Secure and Trusted Communications Networks Act, furthering his commitment to defend our networks from entities posing as unacceptable risk to national security. This legislation will help protect our telecommunications infrastructure by prohibiting the use of federal funds to purchase equipment from companies that pose a national security threat. The Act creates a reimbursement program to remove and replace equipment in use that was manufactured by entities posing unacceptable national security risk. Provisions of this legislation also help ensure the federal government can share critical information about supply chain security with carriers. These reforms will help protect our nation's vital communications networks and also ensure the United States reaches its 5G potential. Protecting vital interests, the security and prosperity of the United States depends on high speed, reliable, and secure communications networks. I'm not going to get into all the details about this 5G. I've done a separate POTUS report. I'm sorry. I've done a separate GoldFish report with Miles Johnston on this. He is an electrical engineer in the UK. You can watch that program. There is a lot of controversy over 5G. There's no question. Okay. Here they're saying the next generation of wireless technology, or 5G, is expected to have vast implications for the future of the United States. 5G has the potential to transform numerous parts of American society, ranging from artificial intelligence to manufacturing to public services. Using untrustworthy vendors to build communications infrastructure threatens our security by exposing our networks to actors who are potentially influenced by foreign entities. Interesting. Like protecting your server from foreign countries. The stakes could not be higher. America's citizens and our foreign partners must be able to trust that our 5G networks are reliable, private, and secure. Well, we really ought to make sure it's safe too for the people. So I'd like to see that in there. The administration will not risk subjecting America's critical telecommunications infrastructure to companies that are controlled by authoritarian governments or foreign adversaries. Or let's just include in there uh, traders and traders, basically. Okay. So this is it. You can come and take a look at this. He's talking a little bit more about that. The president also approved a Mississippi declaration, disaster declaration, because of high storms and tornadoes, strong like winds and things like that. You can go take a look at that. is taking unprecedented action to protect Americans. He did, address the nation, and he told everybody that he was going to. I'm going to summarize this. Actually, I'll wait until we get to that, okay? But he did say that he was going to suspend entry of foreign nationals into the country from Europe, except for the UK, because right now Europe is the hot spot. I can confirm that. We did a report last night, and my co-host Steve, who was over there. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being with me. My co-host Steve, who was over in Vienna, has indicated that it's really like a lockdown over there in Vienna, in Austria. There's a curfew implemented in Austria, and Italy is on a complete lockdown and quarantine, and it looks like martial law. We have deployed troops to Europe, as you may know. These troops are there, I presume, to help with these matters, and we are, we have a national declaration declared, which I will talk about in just a minute. So let me just go back to screen sharing the blog so that we can go back to finishing the news. Yeah. Sorry about this for 1 second. It takes a minute to line up my screenshots. Okay, so here we have the president did meet with the leader of Ireland, Leo Varadkar, met with President Trump, where the two leaders honored the upcoming St. Patrick's Day holiday and discussed the strengthening relationship between America and Ireland. We know how important Ireland is, and there's a lot of Irish Americans here in the United States. One of them, and most of us are. We all came. Most of us came from Europe, or a mixture of Europe and Native American. Okay, and so this was interesting. This was a bowl of Irish shamrocks that was presented to the president in the Oval Office during his meeting. So that was very nice. Isn't that lovely? This isn't something that you're going to normally see on the mainstream media or other news publications, but it's something you'll see here on the GoldFish Report. It's not exclusive because anyone can access this, but they don't usually show these things. They had a bilateral meeting. They were talking about uh, um, canceling their big soccer games, their championship games, and a lot of other games. They've canceled a lot all over Europe and all over the world. So this whole, they're trying to work together to, curb the spreading of the coronavirus, as you know. They're all taking protective measures, which is a good sign. We don't want this to spread. Although I have to say, I think that the reporting of the numbers are not accurate. That's from some contacts that I've had globally. These are not accurate numbers. So, and I think that's why we are taking such proactive measures to protect the United States. So I'm going to go through this very quickly. You can go, if you want to hear what they were talking about specifically, you can go to the blog, the goldfishreport.blogspot.com, and you can look at this entire transcript, but it's very long, and I don't usually read the transcripts because they're very long. We have a statement from Stephanie Grisham, the press secretary, yesterday, who said the White House is aware of public reports that a member of the Brazilian delegation's visit to Mar-a-Lago last weekend tested positive for COVID-19. Confirmatory testing is pending. Exposures from the cases are being assessed, which will dictate next steps. Both the president and vice president had almost no interactions with the individual who tested positive and do not require being tested at the time. This is really, the president should suspend his his meetings, because, you know, you don't want him getting this or something else that could be passed to him. So he should be more careful, I think. As stated before, the White House Medical Unit and the United States Secret Service has been working closely with various agencies to ensure every precaution is taken to keep the first and second families and all the White House staff healthy. To reiterate CDC guidelines, there is currently no indication to test patients without symptoms, and only people with prolonged close exposure to confirmed positive cases should self-quarantine. We are monitoring the situation closely and will update everyone as we get more information. Okay. Moving along, the president also signed into law the Secured and Trusted Communications Networks Act of 2019, which we were just reading about. This is regarding 5G and et cetera. Here we have the president also send a nomination to the Senate for Mark Wesley Menendez of Virginia to be Deputy Secretary of Energy. Okay. Oh, he resigned. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Brule resigned. Pardon me. I stand corrected. Okay, message to the Congress on the continuation of the national emergency with respect to Iran, which the president has to send a letter to Congress regarding this. It's also published in the Federal Register, so you can look at that there. And here is the text of the notice of the continuation of the national emergency with respect to Iran. And this has to do with okay, the actions and policies of the government of Iran, including its proliferation and development of missiles and other asymmetric and conventional weapons capabilities, its network and campaign of regional aggression, its support for terrorist groups, and the malign activities of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and its surrogates, continue to pose an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security, foreign policy, and economy of the United States. And for those reasons, we declared the national emergency. Okay. So here we have the West Wing reads, we have Trump coronavirus response will protect America's economy, workers, and businesses. As you know, he is trying to implement the waiving of the payroll tax. I don't know what else is going to happen. There could be even there was discussion about postponing the tax filing deadline of April 15th. So we'll see what happens with that. That's not confirmed yet, though, just to be clear. And also, I know I'm so itchy, right? Let's keep moving. Some 150,000 illegal immigrants from 72 nations with cases of the coronavirus have been apprehended or deemed inadmissible from entering the United States since November, according to officials. These apprehensions underscore the need for border security and proper vetting. Okay, fair enough. Vice President Mike Pence is the head of the coronavirus task force. So he's also been present at these uh, press conferences. Okay, so the president is definitely meeting this crisis head on. There's no question he's being very aggressive about this. He has taken unprecedented steps. Let's take a look at what he's doing. He's issuing a proclamation under Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which I did a special bullet points presentation on, and you can go take a look at that. It's really a policy review of that particular act, if you're interested in that. He is issuing a proclamation to restrict travel to the United States from foreign nationals who have recently been in certain European countries. So he does, under this Section 212F, have the authority to do so. The restrictions apply to foreign nationals who have been in the Schengen area, 26 countries in Europe with open border agreements in the last 14 days. Those who are exempt from these restrictions, such as American citizens, will be directed to a limited number of airports where screening can take place. There is extensive travel back and forth between Europe that heightens the risk here in the United States. So that's very clear. It's very specific. I like when they are transparent and they'll provide more specific information on that. Looking out for America's businesses and workers, President Trump is committed to protecting American businesses and workers from the impacts of the coronavirus. And what is he doing? The president is announcing an economic assistance package to help support businesses and workers who have been harmed by this outbreak. President Trump has instructed the Small Business Administration to exercise available authority to provide loans to businesses affected by the coronavirus. These loans will help overcome disruptions caused by the coronavirus. The president is calling on Congress to increase funding for this program by an additional $50 billion. You get the impression there's just this magic wand, and they just keep using our tax money. I don't know, whatever. The president will be instructing the Department of the Treasury to defer tax payments for certain individuals and businesses negatively impacted by the coronavirus. This action will provide more than $200 billion of additional liquidity to the economy. President Trump is calling on Congress to immediately pass payroll tax relief. The president announced that he will soon be taking emergency action to provide financial relief for workers who are ill, quarantined, or caring for others due to the coronavirus. The president also called on Congress to take action to extend this relief for workers. I'm going to continue this, but I want to just check in first and make sure you can all hear me. No, it's not my birthday. Why are you saying it's my birthday? You guys are funny. I didn't say it was my birthday. But hey, I'll take the wishes. That's okay. It's sweet of you, but it isn't my birthday. No, folks, I've said what my birthday is many times, and it's a very, important day. It's a big day for me. I have to tell you that much. Not just, I mean, it's a big day for the world, not because I was born, but because of the assassination that happened on that day. Several years before I was born. Okay, so can you guys hear me okay? I just wanted to make sure before I continue. It would be important to make sure that you guys can hear me all right. Yeah? Can you guys give me a thumbs up on that so I can continue? So I want to make sure you can. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Yeah. Okay, this is really important stuff because, if you want to know specifically what the president's doing, this is what he's doing. So it's really good to follow along because this is where the transparency, if you want transparency, this is where you're gonna find it. Leading an aggressive whole of government approach, President Trump has taken unprecedented steps, as we said already. The president is leveraging all of our resources to respond to the coronavirus, bringing together government and private industry in a collaborative response. The Trump administration declared a public health emergency in January to bolster response efforts. President Trump took early action to help curb the spread of the virus from other countries to the United States, providing important time for response and preparations. It's very true. So in January, the president had acted quickly to restrict travel from foreign nationals traveling from China. In February, the president restricted travel for individuals recently traveling from Iran. The administration put into place mandatory screening for all travelers coming into the country from Italy and South Korea. Travel advisories for severely impacted areas like Italy and South Korea have been raised to their highest level. I have to actually add that I did hear that North Korea actually has many reports of fatalities, and I don't know why we're not getting information out of there, but I was able to get some information. I cannot confirm it independently, but it's quite a reliable source. We'll see. Today, the president directed his administration to make general use face masks available to our healthcare workers. The administration's actions will help make millions of general use respirators available to keep healthcare workers safe and mitigate transmission of the virus. President Trump signed into law more than $8 billion to fund response efforts. It's a lot of money. The administration has taken bold steps to incentivize the development of therapeutics and vaccines to treat and prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Well, I don't know, folks, about that vaccine. Working across the public and private sectors, the Trump administration continues to drastically expand testing capacity. This was a big issue that came up today in the news conference when he declared the national emergency, which we will get to in just a minute. The Trump administration has released guidance on how to keep businesses, schools, community gathering places, and families safe. From the start, President Trump has made keeping the public informed a top priority, and he has by his, regular news conferences. The administration has announced that health plans with health savings accounts will be able to cover coronavirus testing and treatment without co-payments. So that's another development. That's huge. That's a nice thing to see the president doing there. So these are all the things. If again, all the specifics, the transparency is right here. You can go to the blog and you can check it out for yourself. You can see how transparent the president's being. Before I continue on to today's press releases, I'm going to check in. Hi, everybody. I hope you're appreciating all this transparency that I'm, the details that I'm providing for you, because you likely won't hear this kind of detail in other places. So I wanted to just let you know, no vaccine for you. Good. Yeah, I don't know. We don't have really reliable information about the vaccine, so I have mixed feelings about it myself, honestly. I mean, I'm not taking it. I wouldn't take a vaccine. Nope, not me. Okay, so let's keep moving along. I'll build my own immunity. Thank you. Here we go. This is today's press releases from the White House now, okay? Remarks by President Trump, Vice President Pence, and members of the coronavirus task force in a press conference in the Rose Garden. I have to say, though, folks, I mean, the media was so rude to the president during this. It wasn't even funny. I had to stop watching it. Whew. So, okay, let me just see something here. Okay, I'm going to screen share this transcript. And normally, oh, what happened? Where did you go? Oh, you are there. Sorry. Okay, President provided an update today to the American people on several decisive new actions that they're taking in the vigilant effort to combat and ultimately defeat the coronavirus. He said that we've made tremendous progress compared to other areas of the world, which is pretty true. A lot of that had to do with the early designation and the closing of the borders, which is probably quite correct. Here, as I said earlier, Europe was designated as the hot spot right now, and we closed the door to that border a while ago. So that was a lucky, or through talent or through luck, called whatever you want. Okay, so here he is. He announced Wednesday night, following the advice of our medical professionals who are doing a tremendous job, and we appreciate it very much, that we're suspending the entry of foreign nationals, which I already reported, who have been to Europe in the last 14 days from entering the United States, citizens, permanent residents, and our families. So all of that, there will be extra screening for people in these who are in these isolated areas. So as the World Health Organization confirmed today, many of the things that we said were 100% correct, including our designation before them of Europe. Like our earlier very aggressive actions with China, this measure will save countless lives. Okay, so the World Health Organization did announce this as a pandemic today. So that's what the president is referring to there. Okay, he's talking here about a number of people have been saved by that early designation that he made, but it was only the beginning of what we're really doing, and we're in a different phase. We had some very old and obsolete rules that we had to live with. It worked under certain circumstances, but not under mass circumstances. They were there for a long time. They were there in place for a long time, and we're breaking them down. And they're very usable for certain instances, but not for this. So, to unleash the full power of the federal government in this effort, today I'm officially declaring a national emergency. So, this is a quote by the president. Of course, this is the transcript. Very important. Two very big words, he said, because the action I'm taking will open up access to up to $50 billion of very important and a large amount of money for states and territories and localities in our shared fight against this disease. As I said earlier, he's urging every state to set up emergency operation centers effective immediately. And you're going to hear from some of the largest companies and greatest retailers and medical companies in the world who are on that coronavirus task force there with him. They're also asking every hospital in the country to activate its emergency preparedness plan so that they can meet the needs of Americans everywhere. I did talk about what some of them were. They were the ability to waive laws. I'm just going to review this real quick. The ability to waive laws. POTUS slammed their women reporter by pointing out Obama's feeling. Yeah, exactly. Let me continue. The ability to waive laws for the telehealth, which is remote doctor visits and remote hospital check-ins, the authority to waive federal licensing requirements. Don't tell me this. I think I'm having some interference tonight. Uh, the ability to waive federal licensing requirements for doctors and other healthcare professionals who are licensed in a particular state. So this gives them the ability to travel to areas that are most affected so they can meet the needs of those areas that are greatest affected. To limit the number of beds, the authority to waive the limit of number of beds, and the authority to waive the length of stay. Um, so also a big issue on the in the press conference today was the issue of the testing and the capacity, the availability of these tests, the coronavirus tests. They were talking about like a drive up, a drive through, coronavirus. I mean, I guess you pick up the test kit in a drive up, and then you take it home. You swab your nose or whatever, and then you I don't know, give it back to them in a bag or something. I don't know what it's going to be, but maybe you have to mail it in. Maybe you mail it in or something like that. Yeah. So I'm going to continue then with the with what we're talking about here, because there's other news to report today, and I don't want to make this too long. Okay, emergency orders I am issuing today will also confer broad new authority to the Secretary of Health and Human Services. The Secretary will be able to immediately waive provisions of applicable laws and regulations to give doctors, as I was just reporting, and hospitals, a healthcare provider, maximum flexibility to respond to the virus. Yeah. Telehealth he's talking about here. Here's the federal licensing requirements. Here's the waiving requirements that critical access hospital limits the number of bed to 25 and the length of stay to 96 hours. The ability to waive requirements of a 3-day hospital stay prior to admission to a nursing home. The waiver of copays, as you know, but that was already something he did yesterday. The authority to waive rules that hinder hospitals' ability to bring physicians on board. This is what we were just talking about. And so you can go here and take a look at all the details of that, folks, okay? This was just the transcript of the news conference today. I also will provide the link. I was trying to screen share that earlier and before we were cut off. This is a very long transcript. It's, over 2 hours the press conference ran, and well, at least from the recording, at least on the on YouTube, the White House YouTube channel has that recording there, but it's extremely long, I have to tell you. Okay, just so you're aware of that. So here, let's move on to some other news, more information here. Donald Trump has mobilized the full resources of the federal government to respond to the coronavirus. So these are, in fact, the details. This is the transparency everybody wants to know. Well, what are these issues? What are these aspects that the president's talking about? So the president is exercising statutory authorities to declare a national emergency. This is an unprecedented action by the president, and he's inviting states, territories, and tribes to access over $42 billion in existing funding to combat the coronavirus. That will infuse a lot of liquidation into the market. Liquidity, that's the word I'm looking for, liquidity into the market. The administration has taken decisive action to ensure all of that they have all the protective measures that they need. And also, just so you know, schools, there's a lot of things being reported right now, as we were talking earlier. Europe is on a lockdown. Italy is on a lockdown. Europe, not all of Europe, but Italy is on a lockdown. We have curfews implemented in Austria. We have things are closing down. There's only certain types of places and shops open. Theaters are closing. Public places and gatherings are closing. And this is really the only way. And it's I think it's a smart. You can put your comments in the comment section of the live chat and voice your opinion politely about what you think about the president's actions that he's taking here. There's a long list of them. It's too long to because it's always so much. It's always a lot to report on with the president. And in the sake of time, it gives healthcare providers, the front lines of this pandemic, the flexibility they need to respond. So this declaration will provide Health and Human Services with critical authorities to waive certain laws to enable telehealth, remote doctor's visits, as we said, licensing requirements so doctors from other states can provide services in areas with the greatest need, critical access hospitals requirements to allow those hospitals to have more beds and longer lengths of stay, the requirement of a 3-day hospital stay prior to admission to a nursing home, rules hindering hospitals' ability to bring additional physicians on board or obtain needed office space, and restrictions on where hospitals can care for patients. So the administration will be working to eliminate every obstacle possible to ensure healthcare providers can deliver Americans the care they need. The Trump administration is working to rapidly expand coronavirus testing across the nation and make sure Americans who need them have access. So, I wanted to give you the count. This isn't the most updated count, though. Um, I will come back to this in just a minute. I want to check in with my live chat. Hi, everybody. Let me just give you what I have in terms of one of the updates, and this might have been from last night, actually. Today may be completely different, but it might not be that different. It might be just a little bit different. Yeah, it looks like Tom Hanks and his wife have the coronavirus. How interesting is that? Okay, let me find this screenshot that I took. So it looks like confirmed cases globally. This is on a global level. Confirmed cases are 113,603. Deaths are 3,996. Countries with cases are 112 countries. That's why the World Health Organization declared this a pandemic today. I have a feeling these numbers are not correct. Almost 4,000 deaths, which is pretty high. But when they said that the flu is like 60,000, it's kind of like, really, do we have to take this kind of action to, when the flu is far worse than this? But whatever. This might be a particularly evil, virus. I don't know. I hope not. So let me continue until we can finish up here. Hold on a second. Let me get in over here. I do like how the president's being very transparent, though, and I do like to report on these particular reports that the White House does publish, because it does give us the transparency that we're all looking for. They should get into more I think they will be getting into more details about the testing. So we're going to have to listen for that, and I'll publish that as that becomes available. But they are, the president is, reaffirming that only people that have symptoms should take the test. Or if you've been exposed for a long period of time, but certainly if you're symptomatic of viral symptoms, you should probably take it. Okay, take the test. So the president has, this is a letter from the president, from President Trump on emergency determination under the Stafford Act. Now, the Stafford Act here, okay, so I've determined that the ongoing coronavirus disease pandemic is of sufficient severity and magnitude to warrant an emergency determination under Section 501B of the Robert T. Stafford Disaster Relief and Emergency Assistance Act, known as the Stafford Act. My decision to make this determination pursuant to Section 501B of the Stafford Act is based on the fact that our entire country is now facing a significant public health emergency. The World Health Organization has officially declared that we are in the midst of a global pandemic. As of the date of this declaration, 32 states, 3 territories, 4 tribes, and 1 tribal nation spread geographically across our country have declared a state of emergency as a result of the virus. Only the federal government can provide the necessary coordination to address a pandemic of this national size and scope caused by a pathogen introduced into our country. It is a responsibility of the federal government to take action to stem a nationwide pandemic. Okay. You can read this too. This is to prevent the introduction, transmission, or spread of communicable diseases from foreign countries, the actions that they're taking. The pandemic has the potential to cause severe consequences for our country's national and economic security. So you want to read this. It's on the blog, thegoldfishreport.blogspot.com, and you can check this out under the Stafford Act. You can check this out. He's also instructing Secretary Mnuchin to provide relief from tax deadlines to Americans who have been adversely affected by the COVID-19 emergency as appropriate. Well, that's interesting. I think that we've all been affected if we're being implemented, if we're being restricted, if we have any National Guard on the street to enforce curfews and quarantines, then I would definitely think that everybody's going to qualify for that tax relief, right? So here's the president's signature, and that's the end of that for our reporting today. When I do have more information on the testing, I'll make that available. But that was a big issue today at the that was a big issue today at the news conference. Uh, I just, I think they went a little too far with it as usual. But that's how they are. What are you going to do? The mainstream media. So I'm just wondering if anybody has any comments or questions about any of the material that I just presented from the White House this week. This concludes our our weekend summary of the president's policy and his agendas for the week. There will be more over the weekend. There will be there will be more photos of the week and things like that and what happens over the weekend. I usually report in a midweek POTUS report. I know I've been doing things a little bit differently lately because Fetzer and I do the political theater on Mondays. We used to do POTUS reports on Mondays, but I've changed that. So I hope everybody has enjoyed this, and just wondering what everyone's talking about in the live chat right now before I close out. So yeah. So is everybody having feel confident? Look, I mean, what do I think? Do I think that this is a cover, a black op for some black? I mean, a cover for some black operations? Could be. Right? There's a lot of that chatter going on the grapevine of the internet and things like that. It's possible. So, yeah, he is going above and beyond. No previous administration can hold a candle. Yes, Victoria Greer, absolutely. Q said nobody escapes this. Yeah, there was a post about like a scary event that has to be implemented. So we do think that I think there's some reason to believe the speculation may be more than just speculation. Thanks, Charlene. I appreciate it. I'm so glad you caught the live stream. I've been catching your messages. I've been catching your messages, your comments in the comment section, and I know you kept saying you kept missing them. So, welcome. I'm glad that you made it this time. I'm glad that you're there. Nasara chat too, exactly. I know. I've been looking at that as well. I've been seeing it. Yeah, so some of the things that are happening already is that the schools are starting to implement home telelearning, distance learning, things like that. The kids are being given they typically already have, many of them already have these Chromebooks, so they're going to have Google Classrooms. It would have been nice if the president talked about that, if Betsy DeVos could have been part of this coronavirus task force, because the schools are being affected by this. It's a public place, it's a public gathering, and as schools are, they're like little petri dishes as they are, because kids aren't that good at washing their hands, etc. Right? So maybe homeschool will be more accepted now. Hey, that's a great thing. Wouldn't that be great, right? We can do more homeschooling. I think so, right? And we don't need to, force the vaccinations on the kids, right? They don't want it. Uh, Is there anything else in here in this section? Yeah. Yeah, they were very rude to him during, yes, they were very rude to him, to the president, the mainstream reporters. It was, I had to turn it off. I really just, I would have been so much more respectful. When I was there at the White House reporting, I did, try to ask questions, but they didn't know me. They didn't know me yet. So they didn't really, I guess, they just wanted me to be there and be quiet and do my reporting quietly for the time being, because I was a newbie, new kid on the block, right? So okay, so that's it. That's it for tonight. I don't want to keep everybody any longer. And when I have new information, I will report it. Because, we were kicked off the internet tonight. This is one reason um, why I don't typically announce in advance when I do live streams. I mean, I've had problems almost reliably, almost consistently reliably have had problems with my internet. So Friday nights I do this. That's just basically what it is. But if I put a reminder out, you know, then I sometimes end up having problems. So yes, it is March Madness, folks. So look, we're taking measures. Don't don't panic. Get your toilet paper. Because God knows everybody needs toilet paper. It's crazy. I binge shopped myself today for toilet paper because everything was empty. And I'm telling you, if you don't get it now, there's going to be any. I don't know when the supply is going to be restored. But has everybody gotten their toilet paper? Because apparently that's like the big thing today, right? I just want to end today with a really funny kind of meme that I found on Facebook today, and I actually retweeted. I tweeted it, which I thought was hysterical. I thought this is hysterical. I think you guys are gonna, we're gonna lighten up the topic a little bit, and hope that you all enjoy this. This is a commemorative jewelry to always remember 2020. Oh my God, you gotta love this. It's hysterical. Let me know what you think. Commemorative toilet paper jewelry. Look at that. It's the pearls in the shape of toilet paper on hoop earrings that it look like rolls. It's hysterical. Commemorative jewelry. Yeah, it's just getting crazy. I have to tell you. Do you like that? Yeah, I mean, it's like everybody's going crazy over toilet paper. It's unbelievable. Not only that, the food shelves were completely empty. I mean, everywhere I went, people are getting it. And it's great because everyone is preparing, and that's really what people need to do. People do need to prepare for this, and I'm glad to see people are prepared. Isn't that hilarious, Victoria? That was really funny. um, so yeah, yeah, you need water too, obviously, exactly. But the toilet paper commemorative earrings were pretty funny because I just never saw a run on toilet paper like we have with this coronavirus. I've never seen a run on it. But you know what, folks? We've never had a national emergency declared for a virus either, or a pandemic either. Broken. Oh my God. Someone says they got the last 12 pack broken apart, torn apart. And oh my God, you're kidding. And went for gas. It was out. Gave me the same low price for his premium gas. Oh, you were lucky. Did anybody else have any interesting experiences in the stores while getting your supplies? There was a huge long line in the store. I mean, it was just huge. It was like, you know, and I have an extra freezer and I packed that full with food. It's just, it's all you can do. What else can you do? They're trying to stop the truckers. Why would they trying to stop the truckers? Truckers were saying there's chatter that they're trying to stop the truckers. Toilet paper was Black Friday too. Toilet paper wars, yeah. No pun on the run. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I mean, if this a lot of people do believe that this coronavirus was released deliberately, to impact the economy, to make the economy fail, to at least that's what they're accusing the mainstream media of doing, of hyping this up to such an extreme degree that it's causing the stock markets to react. It's causing and they wanted to tank the economy so Trump wouldn't get reelected. This is a theory. This is what some are speculating. It may be very true, but 3 bottles of vodka and no toilet paper. It's pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah. So stores were just totally empty. I mean, good luck trying to find food, bread, milk, eggs, butter, things that you just need so that you can make other things. If you buy all this frozen food, might not really always have a way, I mean, how much frozen food can you fit in a freezer? So you have to buy a lot of things that you have to cook and make. And that requires your fresh raw ingredients, obviously, which you're going to need to have on hand as well. So I just hope everybody is protect yourself, stock up, prepare, you know, and I think that Dr. Scott Warner and I are going to be doing a special report on this coronavirus very soon. So you might want to look out for that live stream too. I think that's going to be it's not going to be unannounced, or it just might be a regular Goldfish report. It might not be a live stream. So to everybody out there, thank you. Have a great weekend. When I have more information, I will definitely bring it to you all. But for right now, we're all done. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. And this concludes this edition of the Goldfish Report. Thanks for joining us.